On the 10th of November, the chairman of management board of Samruk Kazyna, and head of London Stock Exchange, Xavier Rollet, participated in the market opening ceremony in the oldest financial platform. Samruk Kazyna's delegation held meetings with representatives of British business circles and presented its project on People's IPO. Vice Chairman of Samruk Kazyna, Aydan Karibzhanov, and Kondik Bishimbayev spoke about their strategy to improve corporate governance as well as the plans to attract Kazakhstan citizens to ownership of national companies' shares. People's IPO is not just a political idea, it's a general decision to present some of the state-owned assets to the people of Kazakhstan.
What is important for us is this People's IPO. And it's not just a political idea, it's a genuine decision to present some of the assets belonging to the government, to the people of Kazakhstan. And what is important in the frame of the People's IPO is the corporate governance. We need to dramatically improve the level of corporate governance and to get it alongside the requirements of public companies.
Samruk is actively participating in today's conference. The fund's top management, as well as heads of the companies of Samruk Kazyna's group, participated in the conference. Apart from the conference itself, there is much discussion with the largest UK companies taking place on the sidelines. Traditionally, UK is a country of financiers, bankers, and we would like to see more UK industrial companies that will invest in Kazakhstan. For companies of Samruk Kazyna's group, this is the first opportunity to present their initiatives, invite investment from all over the world. Today, the first session on People's IPO attracted great interest from the international investors. They are now interested in participating in the program on future stages. But currently, People's IPO will only be carried within Kazakhstan. The fact itself causes great interest among investors, because the results of such a move would be very strong modernization of how the national companies work. That is, private shareholders will place new requirements to transparency. Absolutely new requirements to corporate governance, new requirements to efficiency of assets management and overall company's efficiency.
We at the LSE do support the national IPO policy. This is a very important part of the country's drive to modernize itself. We've had our own national IPO policy right here in the UK over 25 years ago. Giving access to citizens to the companies that represent a nation, be they infrastructure, be they energy, extractive services, is critical in helping ensure popular support for such a vision. So we do applaud the ambition to bring the Kazakh population into share ownership.
With these words, Executive Director of the London Stock Exchange, Xavier Rollet, demonstrated his support to Samruk Kazyna's top executives.
Well, I think there's a strong interest in Kazakhstan, first of all, from the international investor community, but there's also a fast developing domestic equity culture in Kazakhstan. I've had very many meetings with people who are very active buying shares on the stock exchanges, both on the domestic stock exchange but also in London. So I think that's one of the things that really gives you reason to think that this privatization, this People's IPO process will be successful, because there's already an established base of investors, there's an understanding, there's an equity culture. You have 20 companies, for example, that are in London that are trading on AIM or on the main market in GDRs or as premium companies such as Kazakhmys and ENRC. And what that means is already there are analysts, there are investors, both international and domestic, that really understand the opportunity in Kazakhstan. And they're, of course, all waiting for these new privatizations and these new state-owned companies to come to market. Well, American recommendations is to stay the course. I think the course they've chosen is the correct one. They're bringing in as many different viewpoints as possible. If you look at some of the Samruk Kazyna subsidiaries, they already have independent directors, people who have gained their experience working for similar companies in different countries. And so this is clearly the right way to go. Today's event was really about bringing people together from Kazakhstan and from the UK, people from similar backgrounds that have gone through similar experiences. And today's panel session, for example, was kicked off by Sir David Clementi, who worked on the BT privatization. And it's really about that what I would call cross-fertilization of ideas. So I think really what I would recommend is more of the same.
Thank you very much. I think this meeting is a very good fora for public-private dialogue, making sure we have discussions on the People's IPO, getting the perspective from the foreigners on what should be done in Kazakhstan. But also, most importantly, we're talking innovation and having discussions on innovation and what could be done in Kazakhstan, in London, that is very appropriate, especially tomorrow when we'll be going to Cambridge and looking at what is actually happening in the UK. That could be a very interesting aspect for Kazakhstan. I think the main benefits of this meeting is seeing what's happening here in the UK as well. I think there are two areas where the UK has got a very strong best practice. The first one is on privatization, back on the reforms that happened with the Thatcher era. That could be leveraged for Kazakhstan. But on innovation, the National Innovation Fund, the UK Innovation Fund here, is working very effectively across ministries, sponsoring, financing innovative companies, and really being able to improve innovation in the UK. That process of financing of innovation, looking at small and medium enterprises, could be replicated in Kazakhstan.
In Kazakhstan, somewhat 10,000 people have brokerage accounts, whereas the country's population is 16 million. The population of England is 60 million. If we reach those 160,000 people that we hope to achieve, then the increase of the market, the increase of shares ownership by people will surpass the increase which was in England back in the 1980s. We, as the regulator, have been working on People's IPO for a long time, both with the government and Samruk Kazyna. We've been concentrating not on strategic issues. We are now working more on how to initiate the process in the proper way. And today's first panel discussion allowed for shifting focus to certain questions, particularly UK's experience in privatization. I think this is very useful for us. We currently see some challenges in the short term. However, many questions regarding long-term effect were raised today. What will happen in 10-15 years? How will investors behave? What privileges will they have? Many of these discussed issues are useful for Kazakhstan.
Participants of the event acknowledged that success of the business forum surpassed their expectations. It was suggested to hold such events annually in turn in Astana and London.